What's up, guys? Sorry, I've been playing with that thing all day. Why? Because... reasons. Listen, I know I haven't been making a lot of videos lately, and I have been wanting to express my thoughts on Star Wars Rogue One. I know it's been out for a couple of weeks now, so I thought I would talk about it. Okay, so overall, I thought it was so-so. I thought it was okay. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but just hear me out. A lot of people really liked this movie. They were just head over heels for this movie. I mean, I think the reason a lot of people really love it is because there's explosions and stormtroopers and Death Star and space battle. I feel like no matter what, if a Star Wars movie has stormtroopers and Death Star and cool explosions and action and Darth Vader stuff, there doesn't need to be creativity, there doesn't need to be originality, just stuff happening, just explosions, just cool special effects. And people would be like, oh great, love it, Star Wars, yay. I mean, I personally think that this movie needed a lot more substance, a lot more characterization. The characters in this movie are just really bland and forgettable. Think about it this way. Okay, if you're a Star Wars fan, you might be a Star Wars geek or someone that really loves Star Wars. What is one of the best things about Star Wars? The characters. Everyone likes the characters. If A New Hope had bland, forgettable characters, Star Wars would not be what it was today. There would not be a second movie, let alone 8 or 9. That it would have been just another forgettable little 70s film that didn't make it in the box office and would be long forgotten. The characters in the very first Star Wars movie were awesome. Luke Skywalker was awesome. Han Solo was awesome. Leia, Darth Vader, C-3PO, R2-D2, even Chewbacca. They found a way to make these characters memorable. You did not forget them when you saw them. Sometimes they didn't talk a lot, like R2-D2 and Chewbacca, or, not at all. Sometimes they did talk a lot, like Luke Skywalker. And they weren't necessarily the most deep characters. Han Solo wasn't that deep. Luke wasn't that deep. Obi-Wan wasn't that deep. He was just this old guy that knew this special power. But you loved them. You didn't forget about them. In this movie, can you honestly tell me you're really going to remember the characters 10 years from now? Are you really going to remember what Bodhi, the guy with the goggles that doesn't do anything? He gets like a little backstory about how he knew Mads Mikkelsen, probably butchered his name, but he used to be the Empire and now he's like, oh, I feel bad about it. There's one part where he gets brain damage by an octopus and then 5 seconds later he's like, oh, I'm okay. Then he sacrifices himself in an explosion, and that's it. Like, I don't remember anything about him. Then there was Chirrut and Baze, and they looked cool, and they were badass, and they were funny, and they did cool stuff, and we knew a little bit about them, but I really wish we knew more about these characters. They are so interesting. We just don't know much about them, and they don't do or say anything that's memorable. Jyn Erso is the main character, and she just seems like a poor man's Rey. Rey in The Force Awakens was amazing. You remembered her. Jyn Erso is forgettable. Her little subplot with her dad didn't really work. I mean, her dad died and she was upset, and that's her story, basically. And I didn't feel anything when that happened. Then there's Cassian Andor, and I was surprised at the beginning because he had a really kind of dark moment that I didn't expect when he shot that guy. And, I thought, oh, wow, I did not expect that. Good job, movie. You did something I did not expect, and it was good. But that's it. That's it for his character. He gets one little line where he's like, I've been with the rebels since I was 6 years old. You're not the only one that's lost everything. I just decided to do something about it. That's it. That is his character. He does nothing memorable. Like, that's the problem. These characters are so forgettable. So forgettable. I don't understand what it is about this movie that anyone remembers like 5 minutes after they watch it, except for the one cool Darth Vader scene. The one cool Darth Vader scene. We will get to that in a minute. Okay, I will talk about the rest of the characters. There is K2SO. He is hysterical. Every line he has is great. It really sucked when he died, though. Like, man, I mean, I guess that's how it is because this is the prequel to A New Hope, so everyone has to die. But yeah, he was really funny. He was probably my favorite part about the movie. Then there's the main villain, Krennic, and that really pissed me off because I thought he was going to be this really deadly, dangerous villain. Like, you know, in the trailers, it seemed like he was the guy that created the Death Star, or at least played a big part in creating the Death Star. And I thought he would be this big, menacing, evil villain. And he does that for the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then he's pretty much just a little bitch. Because in the first 10 minutes of the movie, he's pretty cool. The actor does a good job playing him the entire time. But, like I said, he has a cool opening 10 minutes. And then he just gets pushed around by Tarkin. He gets bullied and pushed around by Tarkin. Then he gets bullied and pushed around by Darth Vader. And that's it. Like, they did the same thing with Kylo Ren. Like, you know, they set him up in the trailers to be this big, menacing, evil villain. And then throughout most of the movie, he's just this kind of little guy that gets pushed around and bullied by everyone else. But at least with him, it makes more sense. You know, you feel for him. You realize that he's not really the main villain. He's more of a victim that's kind of tormented by the dark side and being manipulated. And that works, but with Krennic, it just doesn't work. He is just a bitch that gets pushed around throughout the entire movie. He is Tarkin and Darth Vader's little bitch. That is what Krennic is. He does not work as a main antagonist. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're about to turn this off because I am saying nothing but negative stuff. Let me say something positive. The movie looks good. Everything looks good. The special effects are good. The action sequences are good. The explosions are good. And there are a lot of explosions. If you like explosions, this is your movie because there are explosions and explosions and explosions and explosions. It's like this movie just expects you to like it because it has a lot of explosions. I know Star Wars has those, but usually there's something else. I mean, with Disney, you know, they spent so much money on this movie. This movie had a high budget. That's kind of the expectation, is for it to look good and for it to have a lot of explosions and good special effects. That's not exceeding the expectations. That's just the expectations. There's nothing special about that. The dog fights are really cool. The space battle is really cool. The third act is pretty cool. Just the ships flying around. It's very realistic. You really feel it. It's cool. You know, I mean, there's not a lot of substance going on, but if you want to see TIE fighters and all the ships flying around shooting each other, it's pretty cool. Okay, so the plot of this movie is really simple. These group of characters, they find out that there's these secret plans in the Death Star that will help them destroy the Death Star. So they go to the Death Star and they have to get it and then transfer it to the rebellion. That's basically the plot of the movie. And, you know, it's okay. Like I said, I just wish that the characters had more dialogue, more development. I just didn't care about anyone. Everyone in this movie is forgettable. I like how the movie has that plot twist with Jyn Erso's dad actually helping them, actually putting in the thing that would blow up the entire Death Star. I like how they fixed that plot hole about how the Death Star just blows up really easily in the first movie, and that's because there's a little device that blows the whole thing up. So that was cool. That was a good plot twist. They handled that really well. Okay, so let's talk about the planets and some of the aliens we see. Yeah, the aliens look cool. It just kind of seems like there's a lot of crap thrown at the screen all the time. There's a bunch of planets. There's like the third Tatooine planet. It's just a third sandy planet, desert planet. There's just, ever since, you know, The Force Awakens and now this movie, there's just a bunch of sandy planets. Like, how many freaking sandy planets do we need? There's just a bunch of new planets, but none of them are really memorable. Even the prequels had Coruscant, the city planet, Mustafar, the lava planet, you know, Kamino and Naboo and Kashyyyk. All of those planets are distinct and cool looking, at least to me. I mean, if you play the Battlefront games, you appreciate those planets. Alright, let's talk about the CGI in this movie. So, there are two now dead actors that their characters, their younger characters, are used in CGI in this movie. Leia and Tarkin. They both look good. Tarkin has like 20, 30 minutes of screen time. And you know they're CGI. People are like, well, they're good CGI. And I'm like, well, you still know it's CGI. I'm sorry. Like, it's a CGI of a person in another movie that was not CGI. I mean, come on. It's hard to ignore that for some people. I get it. It was good CGI, but it's still CGI. And I wouldn't be so mad about Tarkin getting 30 minutes of screen time, but the other main characters were already underdeveloped. They're so forgettable. They needed more development. So I wish that CGI dead Peter Cushing had about 5 to 10 minutes of screen time, so that the main characters could get more screen time and be more developed. As for Leia, she has a little 30-second cameo at the end of the movie, which, in retrospect, is really kind of sad and bittersweet because Carrie Fisher just died. So that was sort of a weird, ironic accident that we see Leia again like a few weeks before the actress dies. We're going to see Leia again in episode 8. So I hope that that movie pays a tribute to Carrie Fisher in some way, because she completed filming. Alright, the part you all have been waiting for, Darth Vader. Darth Vader is cool in this movie. He's in 2 scenes. The first scene is kind of eh. The second scene is really cool. He kills a bunch of rebels. It's really cool. The problem I had was that it was spoiled for me. Now look, I stayed away from spoilers, okay? But when I went to the theater, in the first day, like most of you, I was in this big-ass line, and there were people coming out. They had already seen the movie, and one of them sort of ruined it for me. He was like, oh, well, there's a second scene where Darth Vader kills everything, and it's cool. So I guess I was kind of hyping it in my head. So when I saw it, it just didn't do much for me. You know, it's really just this dark room, and Darth Vader does this, and he lifts a guy up. You know, it's cool. It's cool. I just wish I didn't know about it before I saw it. It was just kind of hyped in my head. Just the way the guy explained it in the theater, he was like, oh, Darth Vader just goes to town and kills everything. Like, I thought he would go on the planet during the last battle and actually kill everything, you know, just kill a bunch of rebels. But, you know, it's okay. You know, I just, like I said, it just kind of got ruined for me. So sometimes when something, you know something ahead of time, it doesn't have the effect on you that it should have. So, yeah. And with Chirrut, it is really cool to see a new perspective on the Force. He is not a Force user, but he just completely devotes himself to studying the Force and using it without being a Jedi. Or having the Force help him. You know, he does not have Force powers, but the Force still helps him. We've never seen that before. That was really cool. Like I said, I just wish that we saw more of him. So overall, I just think it's kind of so-so. I know a lot of people are going to be mad at me and try to assassinate me, you know, whatever. I'm sorry, it's just so forgettable. There's nothing about this movie that I am going to remember years from now, except for the Darth Vader scene. It's just so forgettable compared to The Force Awakens. The characters just don't have a lot to do. They don't say a lot. There's not enough emotion. There's not enough substance. This entire movie lacks substance. So that's how I feel about this movie. Sorry if everyone wants to be really pissed off. Look, if you love this movie, I am happy for you. I really am. But I just don't think that you can deny that there's some issues. And I wish the characters did more. I wish the characters had more development. But that's just me. Who knows? Anyway, that was my review of Rogue One. If you liked it, like it, click the like button, and give your thoughts in the comments below. Just let me know what you think. If you loved it, if you hated me for hating it, or if you loved me for hating it. That's probably not going to happen. But yeah, If you want to see more, don't be afraid to click that subscribe button. It's somewhere down here. Okay, bye!